The movie begins with Sean, a father deeply distressed because his daughter has been missing for 3 days. He's in Mexico, exploring an area littered with deserted old vehicles, following a tip that his daughter's car might be there. After inspecting several cars, he comes across his daughter's car in good condition, but uncovers no clues except for her friend's glasses. Sean reports the car to the local police, but upon his return, the car has vanished. A police officer named Hector Montoya questions Sean's story, suspecting he might be dishonest. Hector cautions Sean to leave because he entered without permission, which could get him into trouble. Sean lives on a farm near the Texas border. When he returns home, his older daughter is upset with him, holding him responsible for not protecting the family. Despite Susan's attempts to comfort him, he remains worried about their missing daughter. He shares his suspicions about the police with Susan and plans to contact the consulate. The following day, before heading to the consulate, he is visited by Max, an old military comrade. During their conversation, Sean is revealed to be a former colonel from a special forces unit known for undertaking intense missions involving the execution and elimination of criminals. Max expresses genuine concern for Sean's family and offers to help find Sean's daughter. Although Sean appreciates Max's concern, he decides against involving him in the search due to Max's history of employing harsh methods from their military days. Sean declines Max's assistance, preferring to handle the situation independently because of Max's notorious reputation. At the consulate, Sean meets with the father of his daughter's friend, revealing that his daughter was not alone, but with her friend when she went missing. Sean recounts the events and expresses his suspicions about the involvement of 2 Mexican police officers in the case. Sean, serving as a representative from his country in Mexico, was knowledgeable about the ongoing events, particularly concerning a gang or criminal group led by a former mercenary named Victor Garza. As Sean delves further into his daughter's disappearance, the plot thickens. Victor had risen to prominence as the most infamous and esteemed gang leader in Mexico. Expressing deep concern, the consul proposed the possibility that Sean's daughter might have been abducted by Victor's associates. Confronted with this alarming scenario, the consul advised Sean to accept the harsh truth and drop the investigation if he desired a tranquil existence. However, rather than dissuading Sean, this counsel only fueled his desire to fully grasp the extent of the threat posed by Victor. The consul recounted numerous heinous acts attributed to Victor, such as the assassination of a respected police chief, the disappearance of 400 Mexican citizens, and various other crimes. These atrocities were believed to be perpetrated by Victor's cohort, primarily comprised of former mercenaries. The situation garnered widespread attention, as the daughter of a former colonel went missing near the border. Suddenly thrust into the media spotlight, Sean and his wife found themselves being interviewed. While his wife wept, Sean displayed resolute determination, assuring his daughter to remain strong and patient, pledging to rescue her promptly, by any means necessary. As Sean delved deeper into the perilous underworld governed by Victor Garza, filled with hope, unbeknownst to him, Victor clandestinely monitored the news coverage. Realizing that one of the girls under his control was the daughter of a former U.S. colonel, Victor became alarmed, recognizing that this could disrupt his business connections with certain partners in America, particularly if Sean intensified his search efforts. Concerned about the potential impact on his operations, Victor took swift action. He apprehended the 2 policemen associated with the abduction of Sean's daughter, prepared to hold them accountable for their mistake, which jeopardized his enterprise. It was revealed that Hector Montoya and his colleague, who had encountered Sean previously, were responsible for the wrongful abduction. Victor reprimanded them for kidnapping the wrong girl, fully aware of the grave consequences of their error. Immediately, his subordinate eliminated one of the officers. However, he chose not to harm Hector, instead compelling him to aid in capturing Sean and delivering him to Victor. In addition to addressing the policeman, Victor implemented more extreme measures to safeguard his interests. He instructed his brother, Carlos, to dispatch their most merciless mercenaries to Texas with a chilling objective: to eradicate Sean's entire family. Following Hector's capture, Victor and Carlos deliberated on the necessity of publicly and brutally eliminating Sean and his family. Victor aimed to demonstrate that their influence extended beyond a mere gang. He aimed for this savage deed to be extensively covered by the press, aiming to instill fear and admiration in all, including law enforcement, citizens, and even fellow criminals, upon hearing the name Victor Garza. While Carlos and his soldiers made their way to Texas, Sean, tending to his farm, remained unaware of the imminent threat. Engaged in warding off pests with a rifle, he remained oblivious to the approaching men of Victor. Suddenly, Sean observed a convoy rapidly approaching, prompting him to quickly retreat indoors with a sense of urgency evident on his face. He instructed his wife and child to seek refuge upstairs, sensing the impending danger. As the tension heightened, Carlos and his hired soldiers unleashed a barrage of gunfire without hesitation. The sound of gunfire caught the attention of a nearby neighbor, who promptly notified the local sheriff. Abandoning his meal, the sheriff hurried to the location upon learning of the peril facing one of the residents. Despite Sean's proficiency in combat, he found himself outnumbered as Carlos and his men forcefully entered his residence. To counter the intrusion, Sean deliberately smashed plates and glasses onto the floor, setting up a makeshift alarm system based on sound to detect the invaders. Carlos, by instructing his men to disperse, inadvertently played into Sean's hands, enabling him to incapacitate them individually in separate rooms. This tactical error shifted the balance of power in Sean's favor. If Carlos had chosen a more coordinated or forceful entry tactic, the outcome might have been different. However, Carlos opted for a more challenging approach, which ultimately worked to Sean's advantage. Upstairs, Sean instructed his wife and child to flee through a window. Meanwhile, Carlos compelled Hector Montoya to ascend the stairs first, unknowingly providing Sean with the opportunity to apprehend him. With cleverness, Sean successfully evacuated his family from the house just as the sheriff arrived. The sheriff was astonished to discover a decapitated body in one of the vehicles and swiftly engaged in a shootout with Carlos's men emerging from Sean's residence. Taking advantage of the confusion, Sean swiftly escorted his family away from the chaotic scene. In a frantic attempt to escape, he sped off, witnessing the tragic demise of the sheriff, prompting Carlos to intensify his pursuit. Despite eluding the immediate danger, Sean couldn't relax as Carlos and his determined crew continued to chase them. In a bold move, Sean halted his vehicle and launched an ambush on Carlos's mercenaries. This unexpected assault threw Carlos's dozen men into disarray, leaving Carlos alone, ruining his lack of additional support. Even though he was outnumbered and seemed to be in a weak position, Carlos remained defiant, refusing to disclose the whereabouts of Sean's daughter. However, his arrogance crumbled when Sean, fueled by determination, wounded him in both legs and arms. After extracting the crucial information, Sean ended the life of Victor's brother. Now on the brink of rescuing his daughter, Sean hesitated to expose his family to more danger. Ensuring their safety, he relocated them to a secure location and sought additional assistance. He reached out to his old friend Max, accepting the help he had offered earlier. Max, filled with eagerness for action, swiftly arrived with specialized equipment in his vehicle. Meanwhile, Victor grew restless, unable to reach his brother, sensing an impending emotional crisis as he prepared for Sean and Max's ruthless tactics. As they approached Victor's hideout, the atmosphere was tense, anticipating a fierce confrontation. Upon arrival, they efficiently subdued every guard, leaving Victor, the leader of Mexico's largest cartel, astonished. His once apparent dominance and strength now seemed feeble as Sean and Max effortlessly dealt with his men. Victor's confidence crumbled. With resolute determination, Sean and Max advanced to the location where Sean's daughter was held captive, prepared for the final showdown. The feeble guards at the site were quickly overwhelmed by Sean and Max. After finding his daughter and her friend, Sean completed his mission and delegated the remaining tasks to Max, renowned for his intense interrogation methods. Victor Garza faced a dire situation, needing to confess quickly before Max resorted to brutal measures. The next day, Max carried Victor's head, intending to exhibit it as a grim warning. Sean, having endured a traumatic ordeal, finally experienced a sense of relief upon reuniting with his family. In the happiness of this moment, he decided to shave off his mustache and beard. With the danger eliminated, they could now look forward to a future devoid of looming threats. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.